Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanfiction. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's the second season of The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. And I know what you're saying. You're going, Dennis, well, why are you doing the second season of Umbrella Academy, all those episodes as one single review? Considering that you did season one episode by episode. Well, considering when I did season one episode by episode, uh, I progressively got less and less viewers as I was going along because everyone binges it and pretty much wants the review of the entire thing all at once. Hence the reason why only one. Also, I took a little bit of an unofficial poll during the week of Comic Con. That was that Saturday morning blast off. And the consensus was one big review, is really what it was. So let me take care of some business, then we'll get to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still not on the if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the very end of this video. You're gonna see a video pop up here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. Up here is going to be Umbrella Academy season one, episode one, is what I'm going to be putting up there because it ties in. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at the schedule that I have up there, and it also has the links to all my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. No tiers set at the end of the Patreon, and also has the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page that you can chat and post stuff and talk amongst yourselves. All right. Billy Fanovi says, I don't mind if you do one big review, just not under is it worth my time? Well, that's my review segment there, Movie Fanobi is there we go. So I'm going to do the non-spoiler review first of this. And of course, if you have not seen the first season of Umbrella Academy, why are you here? Go and watch the first season first and see if that's your take on this. But some people want to know why, how season two matches up to season one kind of thing, right? And that's the reason why they're here. And some people might not have seen season two as of yet or gone all the way through it, as of yet. And just want to get a gist of what they have in store for them. So is it worth your time? Yes, it's worth your time. It has the same craziness as the first season. You have a lot of, the same characters. There's some that are missing, but there are some that have come back in different ways too. So there's that. I'm gonna say right now it's a little bit of a rehash of season one, plot wise. That's about as far as I'm gonna go in, spoiler territory, I guess you could say. And yeah, it's one of those things that it's really one of those things that um I'll get into it in the spoiler version of it. Let's just say that. So craziness abounds, of course. We have the apocalypse revolving around time travel, revolving around the Kennedy assassination. And that's about as much as I can say right there. And the commission is still involved in this as well. So there you go in a nutshell. So is it worth your time? Yes, it's worth your time. So Morks, why are you here? Whoa. Sorry, I just dropped my phone is what happened there. Hey, Jay Hicks, how's it going? So from here on out, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil what's left here. If you have not seen the episodes, if you have not seen the season, go away, go and watch it. Or you can stick around depending on however you want to do this. But yeah, I am going to be spoiling some stuff from here on out because I'm going to be talking about this as well. This is a review as well as, that's what is what it is it worth your time? That's really what it is. It's a review segment. So Let's get to it, shall we? Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of rehash of the apocalypse thing that was going on. They gave Vanya amnesia, which was kind of I don't know, it was kind of a cop out more than anything else. I mean, come on. She gets hit by a car as soon as she comes out of the time vortex, if you will, and gets knocked out. Yet, when someone shoots a bullet at her, which is infinitely faster than a car, she can stop the bullet because, yeah. And let's talk about Vanya's power set, shall we? Vanya's power set is not defined and seems kind of whatever the writers wanted to at that point in time. And I honestly, I couldn't tell you what her powers were. Like everyone else, Luther, super strength. Diego's actually changed as well in the final episode because all we knew is that his knives, he can control his knives and throw those around. And in the final episode, he's able to stop bullets and redirect them. So is he Magneto now at this point? Can he just control metal objects? Can he just control objects that have kinetic energy and redirect that kinetic energy? What? That actually is what is in my head as a comic book reader and a comic fan because I start thinking about these things. Klaus, of course, can speak with the dead and also use the dead against other people. We got that, of course, power set. Allison's the rumor, where she can compel people to do things with her power. And of course, five, time travel, and also he can portal between places, things like that. And of course, Ben, we've never really seen his powers. We just know that there's these tentacles that come out of his body and start grabbing people. So we haven't seen his full power set because, of course, Ben is dead. um, yeah. Mufino says, so I didn't remember the father telling someone that he was from space or whatever. So yes, in season 1, Reginald Hargreaves, there's a whole episode where we see him coming up as kind of an immigrant in, say, the early 1900s kind of thing, and before that, he's at the deathbed of his wife, I believe it is, and we see in the background in these big windows behind him spaceships leaving. So all these spaceships leaving. So yes, he is an alien. In the comic, they do a better job of actually representing that. They go into his background a little bit more. The comic definitely is bigger because it's a comic. You can do that. You can't do that with some of the special effects here. Mufino says, yeah, Diego's power set kind of changed. What was it in the comics? That so it was just the knife thing. That's all it was, redirecting the knives. And so that's what kind of threw me on this is it only happened in the last episode too, which really kind of put me off on it. I came out of it for a minute going, wait a minute, are you changing his power set now? What the fuck is happening? So anyway, going back to there's a lot of stuff to cover, quite a bit of stuff to cover. And some of my favorite moments, of course, are the fight scenes at the consulate, uh, in the hallway with the Swedes. And of course, Lila. If you didn't see Lila being part of the commission early on, they threw you a couple of hints. So one is she told Five, hey, high five. She was going to high five when he burned Diego for something when they're back at the conspiracy theory guy's house, Elliot's house. And I'm like, high fives didn't come about until the late 80s. So you're not of this time frame, is what I was thinking. Again, comic book mind. I'm sorry, that's what happens. There was also one other thing that she said too, and I can't remember offhand now, which also wasn't within the right time period. And so there was two different clues that they left you that she was not of the right time period. And I was kind of surprised that Five didn't realize that. Yeah. It was kind of an interesting thing. And yes, Elila, I'm glad this is the other thing that they finally brought up is we knew that there were what 30, no, excuse me, 45 children that were born. Is that right? Somewhere around there. because they say that at the very beginning of episode 1 of season 1, and all we are focusing on are the 7 that Hargreaves was able to buy. And I always wondered, I'm like, okay, what happened to the rest of the children that were out there? Do they have powers as well? Obviously, they've got to have powers. And so as soon as we find out, when she said she was 4 years old in 1993, I made the math because I knew it was 1989 that the kids were born, and I was like, "Oh shit, she's one of them." And yeah. So yeah, it was they did a good job of interweaving stuff from the first season into the second season, but also they kind of retread a lot of the first season in the second season with the apocalypse and having a time clock. We have 10 days to solve this. And of course, it's Vanya again, who is the bomb. Not literally, but well, she is literally the bomb, not figuratively, like the bomb from the 90s slang term. Um, and we also find out the commission might not be as all knowing about time as they're letting on to be, because when Kennedy's assassination turns into the apocalypse, we see this with Diego. Diego is in the infinite switchboard with Herb, and Herb's like, yeah, Kennedy survived. That's what's supposed to happen, kind of thing. And like, uh-uh. And the building explodes. The federal building explodes too. And he played it. Herb was saying that's the way history happened, was that Kennedy survived and the apocalypse happened, which means that everyone in the commission is affected by these time changes. So that's another thing they're going to need to address a little bit if and when they get a season 3 on this. There were a few little things there that I was just like, oh, so the commission isn't all knowing. We have someone else. I don't know if there's somebody above the commission. We don't know who's above the chair, the board that Five went through and killed with his axe. We actually got to see Five in assassination mode, which was also great too. That whole thing going through the board and just killing them with the axe. And then, of course, going after AJ, who is the fishbowl head guy, who is the head of the board, and taking out the fishbowl on his head. Oh man. Yeah. Mork says Elliot was a fun character and I felt sorry for him. Yeah, Elliot was a good character, and I'm kind of disappointed they had to kill him off too. Uh, the Swedes were actually great characters as well. They are very creepy, but not like Hazel and Cha Cha. And speaking of Hazel and Cha Cha, we even got a little bit of closure with Hazel, who shows up older, 20 years older, and helping Five because the apocalypse is happening. Five, when he first appears, shows up as the apocalypse is happening in 63. And yeah, man. I mean, I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get more Cha Cha as well, but Mary J. Blige, I guess, was off doing some other stuff. Yeah. Movie says, I also like that they were scattered throughout the 60s and arrived separately, though I don't know the connection to the alley. I don't either. Just other than that might be the point that he was going to, that alley, and it could be the focal point of wherever he wanted to go, but they all got separated in different times and they all came into the same location. Again, comic book logic 101, I guess. The fish's final demise is pretty good. Yeah, the whole thing with the handler saying that, that's the thing about being a fish, is there's always a bigger shark that comes by and she just swallows him whole. Morg says, remember that Five is still not very accurate with his calculations, maybe because he was traveling with 6 or more people. It was hard for him to get. Yeah, he actually says that. He wasn't used to taking anybody else with him through time. And so that whole thing about getting his calculations correct with other people involved, of course, wasn't going to happen. So Mufino, says the main Swedish hitman was in The Expanse and Lost Girl. Glad he's getting a little work. Yeah, he's been in other stuff too. He's been in movies and things like that. Um, I have the IMDb up here, and I honestly don't remember his name, but uh, Otto. That's right, Otto. So that's Jason Brighter is his name, and yeah, so then we also have Vanya's whole relationship that was going on with the family that she was staying with, that have the autistic kid, and how she gives part of her power to Harlan, the autistic kid. And at the end, when she takes the power back, he still has part of her power. So I think that's what's keeping him alive, kind of thing. And let's talk about that ending too for a second. Damn it. The ending of them coming back to the present or 2019, everything's fine except that the timeline has changed. Reginald Hargreaves is still alive. It's now not the Umbrella Academy, but the Sparrow Academy. And Reginald says the first thing he says when they come back, I was wondering when you'd arrive, is what he tells them. That's the first thing he says is I was wondering when you would arrive. So obviously he knows who they are, he knows that they have left, and he knows about time travel as well. Um, and yes, Reginald is an alien. He did rip off his mask in front of the Committee of 12 and killed all of them. And he looks like a reptile, I guess, from underneath it, which was kind of an interesting thing. That was a little bit uh, changed as well, I believe. So yeah. Moving on, he says, but Hargreaves telling him to work on the smaller time travel time frames was best advice he could. Yeah. Well, he'd actually, I guess he saw eye to eye with Five on that one as an intellectual equal, which was kind of a weird thing. And then Reginald kind of giving him that advice to work on smaller time jumps and not the bigger time jumps. You've got to start small if you want to work towards your bigger goals, which is good for everybody's. That's good advice for everybody. You work on the smaller stuff until you get more confident to work on the bigger stuff. You don't just go jumping into the big stuff right there. Yeah. Oh, and Ben. Let's talk about Ben. Ben sacrificing himself to shut down Vanya, her powers at least, in the federal building, and he ends up, of course, sacrificing himself because of that. But Ben is not dead because in this now new timeline that we're in, um, he's still alive. He's got a scar. He's in the Sparrow Academy. He's like, who the hell are these assholes? Yeah. Yeah, you're late to the party there, word 789. I answered that about 18 minutes ago. Yeah. So the Umbrella Games Sparrow's Nest. And Ben also the evil, yeah, and the evil emo haircut too. So yes, there's a lot of really good stuff in this. Again, though, it rehashed some of season one. Um, was season two better than season one? No. They're actually about the same, as far as I'm concerned. Season one, you're setting up your characters and you're setting up your world. Season two, you're still using the same trope of the apocalypse and your constricted time frame of 10 days, and then you're also shutting off your most powerful character by giving them amnesia, which is kind of what you did in season one anyways. They didn't know they had powers by shutting off their emotions with pills. Yeah, so it's the same story but in a different time and location. Yeah. So, and welcome, by the way, words 789. Ah. So yeah, good stuff. We had, man, I'm wondering how you could do an well, I know how you could do an AJ costume for Comic-Con, but I don't know if you really wanna put a live fish in there or not. I wouldn't put a live fish in there. I'd probably put a plastic fish in there. Um, and oh god, yeah, Klaus as the fucking cult leader, man. The cult leader thing was hilarious. Uh, but what would you expect from Klaus? Anything less than that. And using Ben in order to sell that whole cult thing was brilliant, quite honestly. Um, and then Allison, of course, kickstarting the civil rights movement a couple of years early, which was also pretty neat as well. I mean, just having her do that. And uh, you know, remember this all was kind of set in motion. These episodes were filmed last year. And so having that happen with what's going on right now being timely, yes, that was actually kind of nice. They did a good job there. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Oh, and let's talk about the fucking soundtrack, man. The soundtrack to this season 2 was so much better than season 1. Season 1 was good, had a good soundtrack, but season 2 is even better. And yes, Gerard Way, part of My Chemical Romance, is one of he just was it was awesome. That's all I can say. It was awesome. Um Yeah, there's songs that have been stuck in my head. There's some songs that are actually in my playlist, like Pepper from the Butthole Surfers, which is when Vanya is first going into her own mind there. Uh, it's a great song, by the way, and a great album too from the Butthole Surfers. If you don't know who they are, 80s to 90s band, and yeah, some good stuff. Yeah, great, great, great soundtrack. I'm waiting for Mondo to put that on vinyl. I'm hoping that Mondo is gonna put that on vinyl. Yeah. Word 789 says, "Yeah, I love the first season of The Boys. I don't know how they're gonna top that." Yeah. So, Pepper is when, she is going down the stairs. Yeah, when she's going down the stairs into her mind. Yeah, that is when Pepper starts, which is a great song. It really is. And Major Tom during the Pogo scenes. Yeah, we get to see Pogo's what happened to Pogo and how he came about as well. So we got his origin story. Uh we got a little bit more on Hargreaves as to what Hargreaves was up to all this time and how much of a badass Hargreaves is. As Diego says, he fights dirty. And he actually stabbed Diego and left him for dead. But of course, Lila saving him. And now Lila is out in the wild too. So is Lila's power set? I'm guessing she can mimic whatever power is thrown at her, and she can use that power. That was kind of one of those things that I wasn't sure of. Again, uh, I think that the writers for season 3 need to stick to a power set. They need to say, "Hey, these are the limitations of the power. We're gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna surprise anybody by going, 'Oh, yeah, and now she can fly, and now she can, change the weather and, do anything she wants.'" Yeah, you can't it's a sloppy, MacGuffin, really, is what it is. It's a sloppy MacGuffin, and I don't like that in film or comics. Mufino says she's like Rogue, but only one at a time, I guess. I thought it was a bit much. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Word says, yeah, Kiss the fight, the hallway fight scene. I'm with you on that. Word 789. Kiss is I was made for loving you. That was good. That was actually really well done. Um, a really well done fight scene. And Lila, of course, saving 5 over uh, Diego on that one. And Diego calling her on it and saying, "What the hell, man? I had 2 guys on me." And she goes, "Yeah, but you're a man, aren't you? He's a kid." she kind of tried to cover there, but didn't really work out too well. Oh, man. That was a good season. It was a lot of fun. I got a hint when she teleported from the roof like 5. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when she was teleporting during the fight scene with 5 too. It's like, what the? Oh, yeah, she's got powers. Yeah. So they do give you all the clues on all of that. But like I said, by episode 10 is where they start playing fast and loose with some of the rules on that. I'm definitely looking forward to season 3. I'm hoping there's a season 3. They'd be stupid not to do a season 3 of this show. I'm sure it's in their top, 5 at least at this moment in time. And it really, if it's not, it should be. So, to reiterate what I said at the beginning of all this, is it worth your time? Yes, it's worth your time. Yeah. Word 789 says, my only problem with season 1 was that they spend half the time trying to find each other uh, all the time. Did they not have phones? No, they didn't. You saw Vanya only had the landline with the answer machine. So none of them had cell phones at all. Klaus is understandable because he's kind of a fuck up, and Luther, I can understand that too because he was on the moon all that time. Why would he need a phone? So he probably never carried one. Um, but yeah, I don't know why Allison was using a payphone all the time to call her kid. So they set that up early on that there were no cell phones in this world, and that's why it took them so long to find each other. I had the same problem in season 2 with them having a long time to find each other in order to get things moving along. Um, that was my problem with season 2, was them trying to find each other and just taking too long. And obviously, yes, it's 1960s. There are no cell phones, of course, and you have to do it the old-fashioned way, but still. Mork says Klaus trying to save Dave was fun and kind of sad at the same time. Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, but they changed casting on Dave. So Dave in season 1 is a different actor than Dave in season 2. So why do they do that? Because Dave in season 2 is a teenager. Yes, he's only like about 5 years younger in season 2, but the actor who played him in season 1 is 35 years old, and there's no way he's going to be able to play a believable teenager. They look similar. They look fairly similar, but they are two different actors. So, yeah. Oh man. Good stuff all the way around. Um and Klaus just makes me laugh. I mean, he really does. So the other thing I had that was a problem with this too was they seemed to dumb down Diego a bit and made him almost a comic relief, and Luther too. I mean, uh, they took out, I guess, some of the drama that you had in season 1, a little bit more of the. There was a little bit of more serious tones in season 1 than there was in season 2. Season 2 is a little bit more uh happy-go-lucky, I guess you could say, or slapsticky. Uh, yeah. So that was my other thing that I was okay with, but at the same time, it kind of irked me a little bit. But yeah, there we go. All right. So what else do I have on tap for the week? Tomorrow I'm off. Thursday is the season finale for Doom Patrol. Yeah, I know. Season 2 finale. What the fuck? Um Friday I'm off. Saturday is another episode of Is It Worth My excuse me, not Is It Worth My Time. Saturday morning blast off where I take the genre news of the weekend and any genre stuff you guys want to talk about when we talk about it. Sunday I'm off. Monday is Stargirl. It's gonna be the season finale of Stargirl. Tuesday is gonna be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet, but I'll figure it out as we go along. Word 789 says my favorite scene in season 1 was when they were kids and they were stop the bank robbery. Yeah, that was a good scene. Um, I would love to see more hero scenes. So in the book, in the comic book, there's a whole thing where the Eiffel Tower becomes sentient and comes alive and starts attacking. And that was actually referenced only verbally in season one when Allison is, remembering what she did to her child, to Claire. And Claire is asking she wants the story of the Eiffel Tower again. And that was one of the things that I was like, oh, that would have been kind of cool to see, but that would also blow a good, three-quarters of your budget right there. Mork says in the comics, does Five ever go back to save Ben from dying? I wonder why that's hasn't happened. Five does not have control of his time travel abilities, so yeah, that's why he hasn't gone back to save Ben. And also, he wasn't there the first time around. He was already gone by that time that Ben dies. Word 789 says, yeah, Luther was very weak in this season. Couldn't take as serious as number one. Yeah. Yeah. They really just, like, I don't know, neutered him, for lack of a better word. They really did. Yeah. And as Ben says, come on back, bring friends, and let's get that sub count up to 1,000 or 10,000. I was going to say 10,000 at first, but it's 1,000. Baby steps. I need to take the baby steps first, That's what the whole thing's all about, taking baby steps first before you do the big stuff. So yeah, if you like what you see, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up here at the very end. And if you like that, and you hit the subscribe button. Up here, of course, is going to be Umbrella Academy Season 1, Episode 1 is what's going to pop up there. And if you want to know where we'll be on live again next, you hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Go to suspendedfanimation.com. I change out the schedule every week up there. And I also have all the links to my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. All of that stuff's up there, plus the link to this YouTube page, the link to my Facebook page, and there's a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. And again, I would have liked to have done an episode by episode recap of this and review, but like I said, not a lot of people want that. They don't want to see every single episode. They just want to talk about it as a whole. And you know what? A Danish. I just screwed that whole thing up. I don't know without a hole is a Danish. Yeah. So, thanks everybody for joining me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. I will see you again on Thursday for Doom Patrol. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, Five may screw up his calculations once again, and you may not arrive back in time the way you're supposed to. And therefore, you're going to need a commission briefcase in order to get you back to the right time because, hey, that's the way things are. Thanks, everybody. I will see you on Thursday. Until then, have a good night. Take care, stay safe, and be well. Thanks, everybody. Night.